So I guess with that, I will stop talking and let it switch over. We've got some different retailers here tonight that we want to highlight. The idea is to keep these, I know I'm going to say 5 minutes, knowing it's going to go more than 5 minutes, but if we can try to keep it under 10 to respect everyone's time, we'll go through the different retailers and then do a wrap up. A couple of the things that I'm going to note before I forget. We will be sending out an eval for this event. So please watch for your email. And if you forwarded somebody else this ink for them, that email, remember we are grant funded to have, be able to put these things on. So your 3 minutes of filling out that survey really helps out with that. Also talking about surveys, there's two that we really need everybody to be filling out. Well, one that we need all specialty crop producers to fill out. We're doing an economic impact study. And that'll be, for those who are present, you have the flyer here. Those who are virtual, you'll get sent a flyer, but it's also on top of the agenda, the link for that. Just to kind of help us figure out a baseline of where are we sitting with specialty crops in South Dakota. And then when we're working on what education do we need, or trying to get support, that'll help us out. Christine, do you want to talk really quick about the high tunnel survey?
Yes, so for anyone who has any form, shape, size of anything that is a high tunnel, Rotobros and I are working with North Dakota State to understand challenges, opportunities. If we do more high tunnel field days, by golly, what would you like us to talk about related to high tunnels? Or you're like, you know what, I know everything about high tunnels. You can put that in the survey too. But that's meant to be like a quick 10-minute survey. And anyone who fills that out, and we really encourage you to do it online, you'll be entered into trying to win a pre-registration to a high tunnel short course in either Fargo, North Dakota, or Rapid City. I'm realizing that many of you Fargo would be a lot closer.
Okay, so with that, I know Dakota Fresh is on the top of the list, but we're going to do some tech stuff. Natural Abundance, do you guys mind coming up first and telling us about what you guys are, who can sell to you, and what they need to know for that?
Okay. Hi, Heidi again. So we are up in Aberdeen. We pretty much almost any producer that walks in, and it's generally been walk-ins that say, I want to sell my produce. We're like, yes, please. But we do ask for specific criteria. This is actually something I just started this last year, because otherwise there was nothing. And so, but it's really basic. And I'm gonna have everyone can just kind of have one of these, and I don't know, whatever. So I don't know how correct or not so we do what we call a producer agreement. So it's not like a contract. It's, it's just something that like, hey, this is what we'd really like. Because we know everyone that's a producer around us is going to be like small. Just a lot of people are like just starting out. Yeah,
and then if you want to email it to me, I can send it out to those that join us virtually. Yes. Thank you.
So what we do is a lot of it is we do talk about asking them to be aware and using, we ask specific things like what is your water source. We like to have things that are more like use organic practices. Like we don't expect it to be organic, but we just ask like organic practices as much as possible, and what that entails. So it's just like, and like photos of where the location is. We would love to like be able to visit each producer, but we just haven't like time wise that is difficult to do. And then I try to discuss with them that there is insurance available for producers. And there are potential risks that could be very serious depending on, we don't require insurance, but we just want them to know it's available. Else do we do? We are required to get a W-9 from everyone that we do business with. And, it's actually a really easy form to fill out. I found out, so, yep, it's either your business number or your social security number. So it's not scary. It's really short, but that's something that I've noticed, like, a lot of producers, they've been uncomfortable with and not sure. They're like, oh, now what's gonna happen because something's getting reported to the government.
I think the only one that's scared are the ones that aren't reporting.
Right.
That's why we're here.
That
are not.
Yeah.
How big of a customer base you have a store,
Yes, yep.
and just a guess, I mean, is it this size? Is it twice this size?
It's.
3 times this size?
Three times? Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, do you have 100 customers that come in fairly regularly?
Oh, yeah.
We
Yeah.
have numbers.
we have like over 2,000 members. They're not all
Awesome, okay. so-
participating
Yeah,
at that time.
no, but
The co-op has been around for
Like 45 years.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
So
Good
do you
deal.
give better, compensation to the producers that can say they are organic compared to all natural?
We don't. What we do is, I've based pricing on what, we sell wholesale, like what the dollar amount that we get wholesale. I take that and, which is organic usually. I don't care really if it's organic or not, if it's local. Because I think the important thing is that it's local, and being organic is very expensive to start that process.
We were just talking about that on the way up, and it's impossible to be organic. I mean, it's hard and it's a lot of money to do that.
Yeah.
You gotta put a lot of labor into it.
Yeah, and it's very difficult.
And I think that they're coming up with stricter guidelines now
Mhm.
for it.
There's a lot more tracking, yeah, yes.
I was just wondering, do your customers seem to care if it's organic, if you can say they're using these organic practices, that things.
We have customers that do really care if it's organic or not, but then we also have customers that get more excited about if it's local. So it's a lot of, different, interests, I mean, that happen. I do generally try to price, things that are local a little bit less than, the stuff that we have, that's wholesale, just for the benefit of selling the local producers stuff more. But also I sell their stuff for a lower margin. So like our co-op isn't making as much money as it would, with our wholesale stuff. And that's so, we're able to pay the producer more because they have a very good job. And it's hard to compete, with the people who are selling stuff out of their garden just online. So,
do you have quite a group of producers that bring you produce?
no.
You don't have very many at all?
No, yeah, we don't have a lot. I have one producer that's consistent from the year before.
Right.
It's just like people's lives change and stuff happens, and weather has decimated some people, and it's so yeah, consistency has been hard. I mean, it doesn't seem like it's an easy thing to start up, like as your own, like immediately as your own sustainable business. Like
Not only was
self-sustaining.
I the first customer at Sioux Falls Farmers Market, but I swear I was the best customer at the Sioux Falls Food Co-op. And they couldn't keep producers bringing in produce. As soon as they got very big, they would go to the, no,
Like a wholesaler or?
well, they would, no, they'd go to the farmer's market, that's what I'm.
Oh, yeah.
They just switch over and sell at the farmer's market where they could make more.
Mhm.
Sell, they didn't have to share a portion of that.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that what they mostly ended up with, was they didn't have a very big fresh food section. That's what I saw.
Mhm.
And they had some, but it was like excess over above what, or maybe sometimes I think some of the producers that didn't sell. Most all the producers at Sioux Falls Farmers Market were selling just about everything they. It was a wonderful market.
Mhm.
I wish the rest of the state could enjoy that as well. That would be wonderful. I can't imagine the frustration of harvesting something, taking it to a farmer's market and then it not selling it.
Yeah,
Same token, I can't understand what would happen if you buy something wholesale from a producer, you have to put it up for sale, and then you get spoilage
Mhm.
or someone doesn't buy it,
Yeah.
you know?
yeah.
That's the frustrating part.
I do believe strongly that it's okay for us to be taking some of the risk of selling something, especially if someone's like, what should we grow? What do you think would sell? If we got into that kind of relationship with a producer, like I think, you know, there'd have to be a very large conversation of like, okay, how much
Right,
risk are we taking on? What is the producer taking on? But yeah, I've bought stuff and no one
even,
wanted it
right,
and it just sat there and went bad. And
right. You know, and
that's-
you do
that
much of
happens.
that, you're not gonna be going on. And
Yeah.
so what the ideal situation is where, as a grower, you know what people want, you can get it ready when they want it. And then they purchase it or you know, when it's, or they know when it's gonna be ready and are ready to handle it. So there's a whole lot of factors that have to come together to make a good acceptable situation.
Yeah, yep,
There's the one message I'm noting is like, so if somebody came to you, even if it was a small quantity, as long as they can go to the, you know, have a safe produce, you'll buy it in any
Yeah.
quantity, and people don't have to be so committed to it.
yeah, yeah. We don't have an expectation of them giving us like a certain amount. It's, yeah, we're just happy with what.
Just to be working
What we
with
can get,
producers,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna check the chat, so if anyone online has a question you wanna put in the chat, I'll make sure that gets passed on. Alright, no questions on discussion, I do that, but no. Any questions?
Sorry, my name. Okay, real fast, okay, I wanna make sure, you might have said it, so you just sell produce, you just sell vegetables and fruit.
No,
You just sell
grocery.
You are a grocery store, so you will take local beef and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, we have
Beef and
beef
eggs.
and we have,
Fish, honey.
consistent people.
So
We're
you just everything that's homegrown.
overabundance, and then we also have, yeah, wholesalers that we,
Rely on for other stuff like the veggie boys.
yeah.
Okay. I'll have to, that, it sounds really good there.
Thank you, guys. Is this the one you want?
Yep.
This is the shot now?
Okay, I guess Heidi or Erica, if somebody wants this out, does it matter who they call up and ask for?
You'd probably want to talk to Heidi.
Okay.
Yep.
Produce.
Thanks.
Yeah, it would be.
As on your website is your contact information. On this flyer that you probably have. or
Yes, on the
that-
flyer,
Okay, and I'll send it out
Is my-
tomorrow.
yeah, but like anyone in the co-op, like if you call or email, they'll be directed to me, so. if- Yeah.
Yeah, we snuck those.
We are on it.
Did you want? I'm not sure if I can make it full screen. It's just a PDF, but I am Shara, again with the Dakota Fresh Food Hub. I am the president, co-owner, business manager. So we're a farmer-owned collective that pulls our resources to market and distribute our members' products. And then through our online marketplace, we offer weekly ordering year-round. So you can purchase directly from many local farmers with one order. So kind of what we're talking about today, the aggregation and how to get
Where's your farm?
Hayti-ish.
Okay.
So 20 miles south of here.
Sure.
So all of our producers are located within 100 miles of Sioux Falls. And we all sell our own fruits, vegetables, meat, eggs, honey. And I don't think anyone's really doing prepared foods right now, but we focus on growing nutrient dense foods. And just like you said, we just do our best to do organic practices, but we're not required to be certified organic. So I'll just go a little bit over how our system works. Everyone has to list their products before Monday. And Monday, 8 a.m., our ordering period automatically opens. So if you go to our site, then you can order products from the site. And it's free to sign up, no obligation to order at any time. And
Free to sign up for someone purchased.
free to sign up to purchase from Dakota Fresh. Yeah. And we have wholesale and retail customers. So you or I can go on there and put in an order. And this is just what it looks like. This was a screenshot of last week, and the storefront just has everything that's listed from all of the producers all in one spot.
So do you you have a marketing person, correct?
We don't currently have a separate marketing person,
Okay,
but we do have a business or a sales manager
okay.
too. So
I know that
Kind of
at
work
one
with
point
her.
you hired one. But I think he was driving the pickup truck, and I think there was one employee kind of a situation.
yeah.
But do you, okay, you go.
Oh, well, on the employment situation,
You are the one.
I'm employed as business manager, and then we have a sales manager who's also employed, and she's also our delivery person right now, so she gets paid for delivery. We pay an accountant to do all of the bookkeeping. And then I think we pay like somebody to manage our website and stuff when we need things to be changed on there. So,
Put the pictures up.
yeah.
Do you have someone that calls on restaurants trying to promote it? That was in the talk.
Yeah.
Maybe
so-
that's your job.
Well, technically it could be. So we just recently hired a different sales manager. And she is working on that. We're really trying to work on building communication, connections, relationships again. So when she does delivery, she'll stop into a couple places and visit with them. And we're also working on calling maybe places we used to sell, places that we haven't sold yet, different things. So
Sure.
she's
Doing what
sales
she can.
manager is kind of not the greatest name for her, but she's sort of our communications facilitator right now. So then Tuesday at 6 p.m. is when our ordering period ends. So people have 2 days to order. And Wednesday is our harvest day. So that's when they get in their email Tuesday night, a list of what they need to pick, what was ordered. And Wednesday is when we harvest, wash, pack, and label. Our website that we list things for sale on, we can print our labels from it. So it does it all in a nice little thing that says who it's going to, who it's from, how much it is, what it is. So that's Wednesday. So Thursday is our aggregation day. Everyone gets their products to the aggregation site, which is the cooler that the Conservation District uses or owns in Sioux Falls.
So do the individual producers bring it there themselves?
Yes,
They
so the ones who are a little bit closer bring it themselves. And some that live farther away but near each other will carpool or take turns. So all of the northern producers usually will take turns. So when my farm is producing it, maybe every 3 or 4 weeks that I have to run to Sioux Falls. Currently the northern producers all meet in Brookings. And all of their products are brought from Brookings to Sioux Falls.
Meet on Thursday.
Yes. Thursday
And
morning.
everything that they harvest is already sold before they have to pull it out of the ground, correct?
Yes. So it is picked a day or two before it's delivered. Super, super fresh. Our delivery person / whoever's kind of at the cooler dropping their stuff off will sort it. And then it's all put into our van and delivered. So I have a little bit more on delivery here. So we deliver directly to our wholesale customers, restaurants, institutions, grocery stores. Any hospitals or Hy-Vee or wherever. And they use our food or our products in their menu, or they resell it to their customers. And our retail orders are delivered to one of our retail drop sites. So if you're in the Brookings area, Bozade's Shell gas station is a drop site. Otherwise, some of the Stensland Family Farm stores is a drop site. So if you're a retail customer, you put in an order with Dakota Fresh, you choose where you want to pick it up. And then on Thursday, you might just run to Bozade's and they have it in their cooler and you can grab it.
Do they pay online?
Yes.
And can I ask one question here?
Yeah.
Do you sell to restaurants, schools, grocery stores? Are you presently marketing all those?
Dakota Freshes? Yeah. Yeah.
I'm hearing because you can't believe how many hours we spend hashing over all these factors and what needed to be included in. So you're telling me it was all successful. That's fantastic.
And yeah, there was a few like restaurants that I reached out to about coming in. They're like, actually, we just go through Dakota Fresh to get our local produce. So.
Sure. It works, doesn't it?
Yeah, it works when it works. So
It's not perfect, but it works.
it's not perfect, but it works. Who has questions? Yes.
Do you have a boundary on? I was at a meeting in Iowa just this weekend and someone said they'd love to sell some of the have but they won't buy it from the state. And I wanted to know if that's true or not.
The question for those who are virtual is what the boundary is. Can they sell or buy? Can they buy from producers out of the state, like Minnesota, Iowa?
Because I'm happy to help
I would
break
have
down
to-
that
right.
rumor. That's a nasty rumor too.
I would have to revisit the,
Bylaws.
I know Tanya Stack's on the call, maybe she's familiar. I would have to revisit our operating agreement and see if there is an actual miles. But we do have some producers like Minnesota, Iowa. So I don't know if we would say no to them.
So it doesn't have to be just a something.
Right.
I know it says there's 100 miles and that's I don't know if it's a definite line, but if they can, they're willing, a producer and they're willing to bring it and they've got good product and people want it, I'm sure that, but 100 miles is a long way, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that's, everyone who's in there right now happens to be within 100 miles.
Right.
I think we could do more. So,
Well, depending on how far they're willing to drive, because
Yeah.
they're driving it, the ideal thing was at one point, when we were conceiving the ideal was have a van that go pick things up, but yeah, I questioned, they were gonna hire one
we
person.
did do that for a little bit.
You did do
Where
that for a
somebody-
while.
Yep.
You bought the van, I think, didn't you?
I mean, this was like right when we joined.
Very
slash
first,
right
right.
before, so I'm not 100% sure, but I know that he would go, we would like meet him maybe at the highway or something.
Yep.
And he went around and picked up, but I also don't know if he picked up everybody's stuff because he was Bryant area. So he
That
was
was
real
where he's
close to
from.
us, so he was picking up the northern stuff. I don't know if he did everybody's stuff. So,
Yeah, you got something working, that's fantastic. How many customers do you have on a weekly basis, just an idea? 5, 50, 300?
so
I mean, I'm just,
it's hard to answer that right now because we're in the slow
Everything's
season.
down. During the summer,
But there might be weeks where we have 30 different orders, or there might be weeks where we have 15 or 8, but then it really varies too, because some of the orders will be really big. Or sometimes an order is, there's no minimum order, so sometimes it's a bag of basil for one
thing.
institution or something.
Are you guys working with schools?
We're working with one school, and I and our business or our sales manager both attended a farm to school seminar last week. So, yeah. I'm hoping
I
to
run Rhoda.
Do more.
Rhoda. That girl works her tail off, I tell you what.
Well, SSU Extension now has
So were you
Anna
able
Barr, because she does, farm to school. She was a big.
Yeah,
It's good to see it push.
our
forward.
sales manager has been, well, she's pretty new too, so it was our past sales manager who kind of set it up.
Okay.
But this, after that training, it's kind of like, okay, now we kind of know where
Now
we want
let's
to
do
go,
it,
and
yeah.
she can reach out to more
Is
schools.
some of that training, available online? I wanted to go to
If you
that.
look up the
I couldn't.
website, Bringing the Farm to School, it's a national curriculum that we use and then kind of tailored it for South Dakota.
Okay.
So that'd probably be a spot to look. Well, but yeah, Anna Barr with SDSU Extension would be another good person to ask
She
for
did.
resources.
Yeah, so it's now Anna Tweet.
Oh, right, I'm sorry.
Anna, and then it's TVEDT.
But,
I
yeah, I have
confirm,
to-
she pronounces it Tweet, not Tibet. And if you,
I
there's
have
gonna
the
be
fun.
another in-person training if you really want to go to Rapid City
And
in
actually,
February.
I think Rapid City is sold out with the wait list, but you can get on the wait list.
Okay.
You never know what a blizzard's gonna do.
Well, even having access to the information. I mean,
Right,
Just
right.
the course.
Yeah, just
The
to see
paperwork
what,
that you
you know,
could read through.
actions other people are taking.
But I-
and-
One of the
advice.
takeaways is like, it's not as hard as you'd think to get into school. There's less red tape than you would think. At least that's my opinion. I don't know if that's what you guys got out of it, but.
It was just like, it reminded me of the farm to school thing, actually, when you were saying, you asked them to practice safety and whatnot, and then, well, there was Andrea. Andrea Cruz was heading up a group of 10 schools, and they are purchasing from a couple of farms right now, and she said that she'll go through and make sure that they're practicing safety, and she will do a farm visit. So it is easier than you would imagine.
Okay, we had a question on the chat that applies to perhaps all 3 co-ops and anyone else, but do you guys purchase organically grown herbal teas? Is that something you would sell?
Well, actually, that reminds me of, so Dakota Fresh doesn't actually purchase anything. I was going to say, Dakota Fresh doesn't actually ever own the product, so the company is distributing, marketing and distributing, so each farm always has ownership of the product and is selling directly to the customer. We have done teas, yes. We've had producers who have done herbal teas. And we don't just do edible stuff either. I mean, I grew loofah this year, so like selling for scrubbers and stuff, but we will take naturally produced goods.
Okay, so that was Dakota Fresh.
Yes.
What about natural abundance? Yep, as well. What about? Okay, and Coteau as well. So, all right.
Oh, one last question. What percentage do you charge? You charge each producer
Yes.
for your marketing services. then?
So we do have a margin and we're working on adjusting it right now. So it won't be the same as what I'm gonna tell you. But currently we do a 30% margin.
30%.
And you also have to be a member too, right?
Yes.
What's a membership going?
A membership is $1,000 to join the hub. And our annual fee is $200. So after you pay $1,000 each year, it's $200, and it can be paid fully upfront initially, or you can do it $250 over 4 quarters. So, and we joined when we were super small, just starting, no income, hardly, and we very quickly made it back, so.
What do you
I would
sell?
say we sell just lots of different things, but we've done a lot of tomatoes, salad blend, some onions, different root vegetables, garlic. Well, We don't really do garlic too though, but yeah, just different vegetables. We're working on what we want to keep doing, so.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And same thing, your contact information is on the website. Is that the best route if people want to
Yes.
get involved?
And
Oh,
I do have it up here too. That email goes to me and that's my phone number. So, and then on the website, it should, I think, hello@Dakota Fresh is the email, and that also comes to me, so.
all right. We've got two more to highlight, so Coteau Co-op, do you mind? I think how I can.
Fast enough.
And if you want to get those to me as well, I can. So yeah, for retail sites, if you email me, I'm the sdspecialtyproducers@gmail.com.
Just the email that you sent.
Yep, send me the flyer and I'll when I send it to everyone. All right, producer, if you need to grab food, please do. We've got plenty of food, otherwise let's.
My name is Annie Mullen. I'm the chair of the board of directors of the food co-op that we're working on opening here in Watertown, South Dakota. It's a member-owned, as close to zero waste as we can get it, cooperative food market. And the goal is to provide local, healthy, sustainable, and affordable food for the region. We do have, excuse me. So producers that want to sell through the market do need to be a member of the co-op because it is a cooperative. We all need each other. We need their products. We're going to do all of the marketing, education, and selling for those products. So we need each other to make it work. We do have a very specific producer and product policy. That's the start of, I mean, this is the one that's established right now. I do have a print copy if anybody wants to read it. It is on the website, coteau.coop, coteau.coop. So we've got a fairly specific, with that product and producer policy, there's some fairly strict guidelines for what we choose to do because my entire life, scientists have been telling us we need to do things, we need to improve all of these things, and not a lot of it has been done. So we've kind of hit that point where we have to make major steps, which is why this is a lot stricter somewhat than some of the other food co-ops and organizations in the state are. We don't accept just walk in, come in and sell your stuff. You do have to go through the process, become a member, fill out the producer application. We will do, it's built in as part of the process to every year, verify that what the producers say that they're doing on their application and what they do, because we'll verify each thing that they're trying to sell at the market or that they will be selling at the market, that they're actually doing that. That's going to be built in. If you have a third-party certification, that's great. We'll include that as part of the education and marketing stuff for the consumers. It is not required. What is required are beyond organic practices, good practices. The safety, having the farm safety plan, food safety plan, all of that sort of stuff. So that's the goal. And the goal, like I said, with the near zero waste is to get as much of it in bulk as we can. So all of the, everybody brings their containers, brings your bags, all of that sort of stuff. So we eliminate a lot of that, the cost, both environmentally and monetarily for packaging. We want to do it locally because again, you cut the costs for transportation. You cut the cost environmentally as well. So that sort of thing, that's the goal. We're about halfway through raising the funds. We have the location. We're working on writing more grants and doing more education, talking to people, talking to producers. I've gone to NPA, Northern Plains Sustainable Ag Society conference every year that I can to talk with producers. I go around and give presentations. All of the board works on this. So that's kind of a rough overview. We're going to sell everything. We'll sell meat, we'll sell fish, we'll sell dairy, we'll sell eggs, we'll sell produce, bulk. We can get a lot of any of the grains and beans, legumes, herbs and spices, all of that stuff. We'll probably start out, even though our goal is as much local as we can, we'll probably start with more regional because one, consistency and availability. And two, the local producers take a little more time and a lot more hand-holding to get through the process of Do you meet the federal guidelines? Do you meet the state guidelines? Do you meet the local guidelines for selling to a retail establishment? But we will do that. That is our focus. And we will help people through that process, figuring out, you know, hey, what do I have to fall under? So that's kind of rough overview of what we're trying to do.
So you're not up and running yet.
No, the co-op is established and we're working on it. We've got a location, but we have to finish raising the funds to actually open the storefront. It's a lot of work. Co-ops take 5 to 7 years to get going. And we're just starting to hit the 5th year. But, you know, the other food co-ops in the state, Natural Abundance started in 78. Food co-op in Sioux Falls started in 72. Even Rapid City was 2000.
Right.
So, you know, it's been quite a while before since any of those have started, but we need it. And the goal eventually too is to help with the food aggregation. Once we're in a bigger, you know, we're starting really, really small, in a really small space. But if you do it well, you grow. And eventually part of it is to grow, is to help do more food hub aggregation, more selling to the bigger, you know, to restaurants, to schools, to wholesale places like that. Excuse me, and also to do more education. Eventually, again, when we get the space and have grown enough to have a commercial kitchen that producers can use to actually produce more stuff, and also that we can use for education, because a lot of people don't know how do you cook with those dry beans instead of just opening a can, you know? So that education is going to be a lot of that part, a lot of the work too.
I think you can write a lot of grants under the word education too, and get your equipment.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about the kitchen one. That one's, I found actually a couple different places, but some of the other, because we're that co-op, we're not a nonprofit. We have a fiscal sponsor, so we can apply for a bunch of different grants, but still some of the things we don't fall under, because technically we're a business.
But I think
It's
having
kind
a
of
commercial kitchen will really help, and especially for your producers who can create value added products.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would love to be able to sell local bread.
Yeah. Do you have any idea of, do you have a time frame when you might be open? You're just thinking if
When we raise some money.
Okay, yeah. So if producers want to see this happen.
Become a member and talk to everybody. Tell everybody. That's really what it is, because a co-op is owned by all of us.
And
All of
when
us
did
that are
you
part of
start
it.
putting this together?
Late 2018.
Okay, because I know Brookings is starting with.
Yeah, they started about a year or some after we did.
Yeah, because I put into that one.
Yeah.
I mean, my husband.
Next question we had, maybe for all three of you, what about freeze dried products?
Depends on how they're raised, how they're processed. Yeah.
So, for the Coteau Co-op, it would be as long as they align with the goals here. Natural Abundance says, yep. Dakota Fresh,
Yeah, as long as as long as it's grown the way that we want things to be grown, but also something with, the food hub is if you can legally sell it, then you can sell it through the food hub. So the food hub itself doesn't have a commercial kitchen or can't sell, you know, different foods like that, but if the farm itself could sell it legally, then they can sell it.
Yeah, because that's the way you
Did
guys are
everyone
set
hear
up, because it's still direct.
so making sure that as long as you're following the legal, procedures and with the food laws and whatnot.
Yeah, and like that's with it. I can't sell cottage food stuff. They could. They're still direct to consumer. We can't. It still has to fall under the retail state and federal laws. I may think that washing eggs is ridiculously stupid, and it is, but we still have to follow the federal laws in order to sell it at retail.
So what's your part of it? Are you a producer?
Yeah, as well, but I'm the board chair
Yep, no,
Yeah.
but I mean, you're
and consumer as well.
a producer and a consumer. Yeah, yeah, that's what I was,
Yeah.
that's what I wondered. I mean, you're not just some person that, hey, I think I'll start a. food
No.
club. Right.
No, my parents retired and I moved out here from where I was at, and my diet was, you know, I got everything from my locally owned co-op food farmer market, or I grew it myself, or the natural grocers that was 3 blocks away. And then I moved here and I was like,
There's nothing.
well, maybe I
available.
can get a organic kale once a week, every other week, maybe.
Right.
And you'll notice the competition, Hy-Vee and County Fair both have expanded some of their organic stuff since we've been talking about. Competition is a good thing. We all benefit from it.
It's definitely expanded in the last
Yeah.
10, 15 years.
Mhm. Yep.
We came from nothing to, now there's actually something. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
so Cause that's why I went to the Sioux Falls Farmers Market many years ago, it was so much better than what was available at the grocery store.
Mhm.
And so all you guys are talking about is quality, right? Better quality than typically, not always, but typically you can get at a grocery store. Am I correct?
No. Yeah, so. That's not the only focus, but yeah. It's a byproduct of the focus.
Well, I mean, that's where the
Because food is healthier and.
I got it, a big one back there was consumers will buy from the grocery store because they think it's cheaper. And that's a big thing, and I think we need to market that it's not any more expensive. I think another thing is low income EBT. Do you take that?
Mhm. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Good for you guys.
Yeah, well, and the education that is not really cheap food. We're paying for it.
Yeah.
We're paying for it in subsidies. We're paying for it in our environmental impact. It's not cheap food. So a lot of that is education too. That we really need to be able to say, okay, no, wait. Yeah.
The market out there to say compare prices.
Right, like
Mhm.
eggs right
Just
now, I would love.
Oh, yeah.
to
Come
post,
kind of
like, here, look
to-
at Walmart's
Yeah.
eggs are this much,
Yeah.
and look at our fresh from down the road.
Exactly.
Out there, because I think a lot of people are afraid that when they walk into your store or order from you guys, they're gonna be paying double the cost.
Yeah.
Because it is locally grown and it's specialty, because we think it's specialty,
Mhm.
but it's,
Yeah.
it's locally grown, and that's it.
Right.
Well, and that's one of our things is that this good food is not a privilege. This is a right.
Right.
Everybody has a right to have access to this food. Early in the pandemic, when people couldn't get flour, I was like, we have wheat berries, we have a flour mill. We wouldn't be charging anymore. It would not be hyped because of scarcity, because it came locally. These were local grains, so yeah, it's education is a large part. And that's why we're important too, is to do that part, the education, the marketing, the selling part for the producers who can spend the time focused on what they're growing, what they're raising, what they're producing. Instead of, losing a day or 2 days at the farmer's market, when you could be doing more growing stuff, so.
Thank you
think
so
that's
much. Okay, so we've heard three different, and I think the really cool thing is 3 different locations and 3 different models, kind of figure out what best aligns with you. Next, Timothy Schulenhoven with DANR is going to talk about a program that they have some funding for right now, as well as talking about specialty crop block grants. I know we're a little past our schedule, but I think we can do a wrap up more concise. So while you're listening to these presentations, keep in the back of your mind, what idea do you want to take out of these meetings? Do you guys want to see a next step meeting on any topic? Or maybe you just want to make one contact yourself and go from there. So just kind of a thought for our wrap up, but for now we'll have Timothy take over if it's working.
Hi, can everybody hear me all right?
Yep, we can hear you and we can see your PowerPoint.
Sweet. I've got like a bunch of screens open, so I'm trying to juggle what's on which screen. And I know that we're all kind of late tonight, so I appreciate everybody's time. There's 2 programs that the Department of Ag and Natural Resources has the opportunity to steward and administer on the state level. Both of these are through the USDA Ag Marketing Service. And I'm hearing some feedback. It's me, or if that's somebody else.
Hang on, oh.
Give me 1 second.
Something happened.
That's what we applied for one time.
Oh, okay.
One time.
That grant program?
Mm.
Is the feedback better now?
Maybe if I use headphones, it'll
Okay.
help. I don't know.
Timothy, if you want to hit from beginning on your PowerPoint too, it might.
Yeah, I did that, and then it keeps on putting it on the wrong screen. But I guess that works. Whatever. So yeah, I overheard someone mention that they've been familiar, and I forgot to change. This is supposed to be 2023 now. So there's 2 programs I want to talk briefly about. Some of you may have already heard about or been involved in the past with the specialty crop block grant program. This is an annual program through the Farm Bill. South Dakota, and I know a number of folks here, including Laura, Christine Lang, and Rhoda Burris, have all been involved in it. And so, I'm not there in person. I'm happy to, take any questions through the voice or chat or emails, or just, talk with Laura and she can follow up with me. But you can also ask any of those folks in the room because they know a whole lot about this program and have been dealing with it longer than I have been in this position. So here's kind of a quick snapshot of some of the past funding we've been able to do. South Dakota doesn't receive, the largest pool of funds in the world for this program. This is sort of a combination of the census statistics and I think sales receipts for the specialty crop industry. So today, actually, USDA just released the new funding opportunity for this year. And it looks like, unfortunately, we're actually looking at a little bit of a dip compared to some previous years, but you can just get a quick glimpse. We should hopefully have, something about 370 grand to put out, and the number of projects we can fund with that just depends on the size of the projects, and we have a review panel that makes those choices. But just quickly, the way this works is we will. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we are seeing your PowerPoint, but it's just the first slide that it's showing, the 2022 specialty crop block grant. Oh, yeah. Yep. Okay. Now we're following.
I that's weird because I have it on like slideshow mode, but oh, you know what? It's sharing the screen. Okay, what if I do this? Does that change it?
Oh, it looks the same.
All right, you know what? This is a silly kind of waste of people's time.
As long as you're clicking, we're fine.
All right, I'm gonna. All right.
Yeah.
You can see the one with the arrows right now.
Yeah, looks good.
All right. Anyways, sorry about that. Point being, as quickly as possible, I'm hoping that we can get out the request for applications, but this is sort of a preview warning for everybody here. The state will request that interested individuals submit their proposals for the program by the end of March, and then that will be reviewed in April, and the state has to select projects on our end and then submit those to USDA by the 1st of May to get USDA's approval. There's a couple different things and these are 3-year projects. The overall point of this program is that these are projects that enhance the competitiveness of specialty crops. So that can be a wide variety of things. And in South Dakota, we keep it a little bit more broad than some other states. So individual producers, like some of you who are here tonight, are eligible. Universities, government entities, it's a pretty wide range of eligible applicants and a pretty wide range of eligible ideas. More than what we can really get into right now, but this might be a research project, it might be a demonstration project, it might be an education project. There's a couple things that we do specifically hope to see prioritized, and projects that increase access to specialty crops, projects that increase consumer consumption and purchasing of specialty crops, and then also projects that have kind of that environmental sustainability angle. And I think those are all things that the group here tonight is interested in. So a lot more can be said about that program. You could definitely reach out to me and I would be happy to talk with any of you about it. Like I said, I'm hoping to get the 2023 materials prepared and distributed. And we'll do a press release through the Secretary's office when it's official, but I'll definitely be sharing around, a link to the application and all that information through Laura. So, for those of you who are members of SDSPA, you should get that in the newsletter and things like that. But definitely want to put that on your radar because I hope that will come out soon and you will have, a relatively constrained, 5 or 6 weeks to put your proposals together. That'll involve, a narrative, a budget, what you hope to accomplish. So for those of you who are familiar with, federal grant applications, some of that, some of those types of information you may already have on hand if you have a proposal in mind. But I want to spend a little bit of time for those of you. I really don't know if how widespread familiarity with this program is, but this is a really new one that we received funding for last summer called the Local Foods Purchase Assistance Program. And I'm really glad that everyone could be, at the meeting tonight. this is something that I hope folks like yourselves and those who you work with in whether you're one of the other folks who just was discussing their entity or whether you're an individual producer, really want to kind of share more about. This is brand new for both the state and USDA, and you can see I have the Feeding South Dakota logo on here because we are partnering with them. The goal of this program, it's a cooperative agreement, but we're partnering with Feeding South Dakota. They procure food from South Dakota producers and then they deliver it to communities in need. USDA tends to use the term underserved communities. So kind of the goal of the program is that both that purchasing and delivering angle. It's a food assistance program, but it's also a program that's meant to provide a market opportunity for the producers in our state. And the department here, we exist to serve you. And that's my role through this program. Administering it is that I hope to, help South Dakota use this funding in a way that provides a market outlet for producers that are interested in selling produce to Feeding South Dakota, and that produce is paid for using these grant funds, and then that food in turn, Feeding South Dakota distributes through their channels and through their local food agency partners to folks in need throughout the state. And it's very new. We have not done a ton of work with this yet, but we're excited to hopefully pick it up and get it going really well in 2023. There's a couple, kind of briefly tick through the process here. If you're interested in this idea, if you have produce and you're interested in selling it to Feeding South Dakota, at a competitive market rate, what you would typically be selling it for, then you get in touch with Feeding South Dakota. Their procurement people have, they're the ones who kind of will interact directly with you about what you have available, the logistics of that. You do a transaction directly with them and then work with them on whether they're picking that up from you or whether you were to bring your product to a location. Maybe it's a Feeding South Dakota location or a location of one of their more local partners, depending on where you are. And then the state reimburses Feeding South Dakota. So they pay you, kind of right away like they would for a normal transaction on their end. And then currently we have this funding through June of 2024. USDA has announced additional funding available, as well as the possibility for extending it. So I'm really not sure what the department's going to do on that end, but currently, as it stands right now, we have funding for 2 years. And so we are, wanting to put this information out for you all as you're going into the 2023 growing season, since we kind of got started towards the latter half of last year's growing season, didn't really have a lot of time. Just as you're kind of thinking this over, and again, I'll make sure that you all have access to information on the website. You can find more about this, and I'm happy to follow up directly with anybody. Any South Dakota producer can participate. There's no kind of restriction on who can be interested and who can potentially sell their product. USDA has framed this as specifically an opportunity that's attempting to address, socially disadvantaged groups. So if you're a producer, you identify as being part of one of those groups, that's definitely this could be a very good fit for you, but it's not limited to that. And the state and Feeding South Dakota will do business with most people who are interested. Again, the individual purchase decision point is with Feeding South Dakota. The state isn't acting as a procurer in this program, but that's kind of, we try to keep it pretty open. We really just want to see people have access to that market opportunity and use the funding in that way. It's also very, very open-ended in terms of what you can sell. Obviously, think about the product in the sense of it's being distributed as food assistance. So it would have to be something that, would make sense in that context. But in some instances, I know other states have done prepared meals and things like that. The point is everything has to be local South Dakota product. It could be meat, it could be eggs. We did a lot of produce in the fall, and we want to try to do a lot of produce, but a lot of, most things are eligible. There's very few restrictions on USDA's end about what doesn't count as a local product. So it's very open-ended. There's a lot of flexibility that you have in terms of what you might be interested in selling to Feeding South Dakota through the program. obviously where you are and what you have and when. All those logistics play a role, and you'd have to work with Feeding South Dakota on the exact, packaging and transportation and stuff like that. That would be a conversation that you'd have with them after you get in touch with them. So if you are interested in being involved, there's a questionnaire that we have, and I have an online Google form, as well as a printout that you could email to their email address. And that will give you the opportunity to describe a little bit more what you're about, who you are, what your interests are, and then other things I would just recommend for anybody who's interested in this. And it doesn't have to be, you definitely don't have to be interested in doing it right now. Again, you have until next June. So this is kind of put a seed in your mind for, next year even. Kind of be aware of what you have and what you they would want to know, your prices and things like that. So you need to have that information ready. You'd also, it would be helpful if you're able to communicate with them about, your future plans. I know that they've already started asking a couple producers who they've purchased from, what are you thinking about for next year? And that can help both you in terms of having an idea of what they might want to buy, and them in terms of having an idea of what they can get. And, they also do have to spend this money within a limited time frame. So they are very thankful for opportunities to do that. If you have other folks in your network or other producers, neighbors, other people that you work with that might be interested, please share this information. There's a website link at the end of this PowerPoint. And if you are located in a community that you think might benefit from receiving the food aid, because there's both a purchasing and a distribution element to this program, also reach out to, myself or Feeding South Dakota. Currently, well, so far they've distributed the food to, through their regular mobile distributions. But we're definitely interested in reaching folks who we don't normally reach. So, keep in mind that angle as well. And then this is some information that Laura had included before that I kind of threw in here, more information about the transportation. Again, there's those mobile sites where they might aggregate produce. They also have major distribution centers in Pierre, Rapid, and Sioux Falls. But there might also be the opportunity to do some sort of creative handoff where you go directly to a local agency. So some of these are details that would be really relevant for you. And the point being, it's pretty flexible. There's lots of opportunities in different ways that I think you could get involved. And that applies to, the logistics and also the actual product that you have. So I have this several links here, and Laura has this for anybody who's interested, but we've got a website and you can find more information about the program itself and also these questionnaires where you can send in information about your operation. So that's about all I've got. I also have more information on like the specific, I think earlier we were talking about egg washing. So, things like that you need to know. I have all that information as well. Just if you're curious about what might be involved for the actual, what you have to provide to them if you're selling them something. So I think that is all I have.
Thank you. And Timothy, I also realized, thank you for staying late, especially with the newborn at home, to present and share this information. So thank you. So yeah, like I said, tomorrow or possibly the next day, hopefully tomorrow, you'll be getting an email in your email. Please do that. And I'll be passing on all of these links. So please don't ignore that email.